Alright, so this game, Intergalactic, the Heretic Prophet, has gathered a lot of attentions lately on social media, on YouTube, and all over the place, more or less. It's a game that has been drawing a lot of attention. Many people think that this game will be just another game made by white liberals, trying to virtual signaling and proving some kind of political standpoint, or educating people with their social norms and how you should think and behave out there in the real world. And that's kind of funny, because we are playing the games because we're trying to escape the real world. We don't want to be reminded of what's going out in the real world, because the real world are kind of depressing, and it's like they're saying, we are not interested in your political viewpoints at all when we play video games. But to be fair, every artist out there, doesn't matter if it's a painting or it's a movie or a song, or as well as video games, they will of course throw in some of their worldly views and experiences, and also political standpoints or social norms. And everybody are free to express themselves in the way they want to do it. Just like everybody is also free to buy your content. But what happens if we don't buy it? What happens if we disagree with it? We've seen it before. People are being called haters. People are being called bigots or incels. Because the group that are usually trying to be the most tolerant group and the most inclusive group usually are the opposite. And while I was watching the trailer for the first time, making my video impression and trying to do that as objectively as possible, seeing that, yeah, she doesn't look that ugly, some lightning positions, I paused the game in certain areas, and there, well, she looks actually cute, as I said. But then again, when you're looking at her in real lightning, she looks like almost like a drug addict, and she's not that beautiful anymore. And beauty is just objective. People can think what they want about that. I have my own preferences, and she's definitely not one of the people that I find attractive. But then again, that shouldn't really be the main point of the game, as long as you have a really good story. The reason why I do object against these kind of games is because the reasons the developers have to make them and put these kind of characters into the game is. And looking at the kind of people that makes these kind of games, it's always the same kind of people. White males and white women liberals that are trying to do everything they can to virtual signal and gather those virtual signaling points, and then clap themselves on the back saying that, yeah, we're so inclusive, we take care of the minorities, and we are looking out for the lesser people in the society. But when you actually go underneath that surface, it's something that the white liberals have made up for themselves, that they are actually needed, and they're out there trying to save certain groups of people that really don't need to be saved. Or as the art director from Avowed went out and said that he made his game with pronouns just because he wanted to piss off people like Elon Musk. In other words, he wants to piss off the white males out there. And I mean, just by stating that, you just outed yourself. You don't make these games at all for the groups you are claiming to protect. You are making this game for yourself, trying to look good within a little small group. And this has been going on for the last 10 years. And 10 years back, it was actually very popular, and it became a trend to support the LGBTQ and put up all the flags all over the stores to signaling during the Pride months that you don't want to be looted, or I mean, you support the LGBTQ community. But as time went by, more and more people have seen through that bullshit. But the games that's been developed for 10 or 5 years, they really couldn't pull the handbrake. They had to continue on. And now when they started to release the games one after the other, they see and they notice that people don't buy it anymore. People don't want it. People are not interested. And that's why Naughty Dog turned off the comment section on YouTube, which is pretty interesting, because if they really believe what they're doing is right, they would have no problem having the comment section open. And that is also one of the reasons why I'm also worried. Well, I'm not worried. It will only be sad if the big developer like Naughty Dog, that are famous for making such high quality games, will now release a game that will be filled with social justice messages and all that crap that we don't really want to see or support. Because that's the thing. Yeah, of course, I could buy the game. I mean, I have the money, so that's not the problem. I could buy the game and just put earplugs in, or just don't listen to that certain part of the game. But the thing is, I don't want to support it. I don't want to support the development of these kinds of games, because we are always voting with our wallet. Just like I don't want to buy certain kind of foods because I don't want to support it, even though some brands might have food that I really really enjoy. I still don't want to give my money to the company because I don't believe in what they're doing. So if this game, the Intergalactic game, will have social justice messages and all of a sudden there will be political statements and if it will be just another Dragon Age Veilguard game, then I will definitely not play the game. Doesn't matter how good it looks, I won't put my money into it. Because that's the problem when people like Neil Druckmann or whatever his name is, that's been influenced by people like Circassian. We noticed that when he started to have contact with her, the games like The Last of Us 2 changed a lot towards a lot more woke and inclusive kind of game. While that's not the reason why I didn't buy the game, I actually read a spoiler of the game. I ain't gonna spoil anything if you haven't played the game yet. I'm now, so if you don't want to listen to it, just turn the sound off now. I just got very upset when I read that they actually killed off Joel and that he got killed off so easily. It made me really upset, and I just didn't want to play it. I just didn't want to go through it, you know. And seeing how they had to put a big buffed girl in the game, it was this typical thing you see from these kind of developers where they have to uplift a strong woman, and they can't have a strong woman without her looking more or less like a man, which is kind of hypocritical because these developers usually hate white males. They think that the gaming industry is very toxic and they are trying to change the gaming industry as it is. So that's pretty funny and interesting. If they actually did care about the most people who play video games to actually make games that we enjoy, looking how the Eastern developers are making games, they understand what the customer wants, and looking at the female characters in those games, they are completely different. That is what the customers wants, most of them. So, and if you're out there trying to earn money, well, then you know what you got to do. If you're out there trying to state a political point or social point, then you got to be on the clear that people most likely won't buy the game. And yeah, while many people did buy The Last of Us 2, I believe that many people did that out of the game being a sequel. It was already a very well-known established game, and it finally got a sequel. Of course, many people would buy it, and it is a very, very high-quality game. You can't take that away. But I think that if they wouldn't have that political statement in it, or all that crap with we gotta have a lesbian in the game and we gotta have a really buffed up woman looking like she used steroids more or less, I think the game would have sold a lot more. And definitely if they wouldn't have killed off Joel, I think the game would have sold much more. And that's why I think they also are trying to make one remaster after the other, because they want to have more money. I think they predicted that they would sell a lot more than they did. That's why they are making all these stupid remasters that really doesn't change anything. The only thing they really do change is the appearance of the women. Again, Neil Druckmann is making the women uglier or making them look a lot older. So yeah, there's definitely a pattern going on there. That's for sure. And also another funny thing that I know is that most people that are out there against the sexualization or the sex appeal of females within the gaming industry that you read about on social media, as soon as there are people that are complaining about female protagonists as being ugly or less attractive and how they uglify characters in video games compared to the real actors, there's always this group that are calling people bigots and incels, or that they just want to masturbate to these characters because they are not beautiful enough. That's why they're upset. But when you then go to communities where they hang out, for example, the Dragon Age Veilguard community on Facebook that didn't allow the laughing emojis. They banned people because they've used the laugh emojis. You can see pictures up there on lightly dressed, buffed up male characters from the game. The bad guys that had some leather stuff on them, like they looked a lot like BDMS characters. This little group here that called the other people bigots and incels or freaks or whatever, they sit there drooling over these lightly dressed male characters or evil characters in the game. And it's so funny to see how they are so hypocritical. Because it's okay to sexualize other characters in video games that are looking more gay or that looks like they would be more part of the LGBTQ community. But as soon as there is a Western white female character in the game that looks really, really good, then they hate that character. And they really hate the people that finds that attractive. And I think that's so hypocritical that it's just turning into a more or less a comedy show at the moment. But the only thing we know for sure here is that the majority of the gamers are the people that don't want to play this. They don't want this kind of protagonist. And even though there are people like me that are open for it, that's still gonna wait and see what the trailers up ahead might show us, that might play the game if it's not full of some political statements or woke garbage that we saw in the Dragon Age Veilguard game. That still won't be enough. Maybe they will break even, who knows, but it won't still be enough. Because this is, as I said, this is not The Last of Us 2. This is not a sequel to an already established game. This is a complete new game they're trying to make now. I bet they have a plan that this will have a couple of sequels as well. But if a game won't get a good traction at the beginning, then they're doomed. But what is the conclusion here? I mean, we can analyze and we can talk about the look, and we can do that forever, more or less. We just really need to wait and see what will happen. What will we see in the next kind of trailers? But we gotta also be honest and realistic here. If a developer are going to make a game about a bounty hunter in space that is supposed to be an action-oriented game, this is not the way you're gonna do a game if you want to sell a lot of games, because your main target group won't be interested in it. You have to be able to say that. And if you're going to call people haters, bigots, misogynists, racists, or whatever name calling you can come up with because they have this opinion, well, then I guess you're the problem. Or you have some kind of problem being able to discuss openly and being a little bit more open-minded towards people that don't share your belief. And I mean, it is what it is. Naughty Dog has taken their stance in this social war that is going on. If they are going to push an agenda or social norms or their political views, they shouldn't be that surprised that people are pushing back. So to finish this video off, personally, I won't reject this game because of a female protagonist. I'm open for playing Witcher 4 because I thought she looks really cool. Will reject this game based on what will come out of her mouth when she starts talking more in trailers or in gameplay videos, because I want to know more about what this type of character stands for. See that Naughty Dog and Neil Druckmann's political worldviews and his social signaling is starting to shine through character, then I ain't gonna buy it, I ain't gonna support it, I never will play this game. I mean, it's just as easy as that. We are using our own money to vote for what we want and what we believe in. And at the end of the day, that is what's going to show what the future is going to be like. And I think we already are seeing a pattern here, how the gaming industry will develop in the future. These kind of games are going to disappear because there is not enough customers that are buying these types of games. We have seen it with Dragon Age Veilguard. It sold 1 million. Yeah, far from enough from breaking even. But with an open mind, I'm just gonna have to wait and see what will happen next in this game. And I'm gonna pay close attention to how Naughty Dog and Neil Druckmann are responding to the negative criticism. But seeing how they responded with turning off the comment section, I already have my doubts. So let me know in comments what you think about this game, and do you think that this game is gonna do well, or do you think that this game is gonna flop? Thank you for watching, and I wish you all a great day. All right.